Hello to all you Taurians, dear Taurians. Happy New Year and welcome to your first monthly horoscope of January of 2017. And let's have a look. What's happening with you? Let's have a look. Let's start with the good news. Let's start with the easy part and then we'll see what happens. For you Taurians, there is definitely a kind of an ease going on. Things are going a bit more smoothly for you when it happened, and also more steady during the whole month of January when it comes to words that you receive from others and maybe work, the sixth house, day-to-day work, or health. So there is a sextile between Jupiter and Jupiter is growth and Saturn is stability. So there is definitely, when it comes to work, when it comes to your health, stability coming in. And it could also come from other people who really, especially at work, who really see now after maybe you have spoken out so openly in December, and also part of, I'll talk about that in a minute with the Mercury retrograde there in your ninth house, the house of your opinions. You will get a lot of appreciation. It's a very nice, although it is a sextile means nice energy, but I think you Taurians will benefit a lot from this because you do need that steadiness in your life because you are a Taurian. And Taurus people, they really don't like to change too much. And 2016 was a year for a lot of people with quite a lot of changes. Also for you Taurians, certainly on emotional level. And but now in January, there's like, although it probably was very busy last month, and because you have Mars and Venus in your 10th house and so on. But I think that you feel quite stable during the whole month of January, notwithstanding the fact whatever happens, not whatever happens, you have the feet on the ground and you like to be that way. And that's why we like you to be as well. That's why we love Taurians, because they are the backbones and they are people who, when everyone is going into a crisis, the Taurians, they stand strong. That's really the good side of you Taurians, that people build on you, and you will sense that in January for whatever reason. And you may say, I'm doing a good thing here. Now, what else is going on? As I said, that Mercury retrograde, it goes direct now on the 8th of the month, and that was in your 9th house. So that could have been studies, it could have been your opinions. So there was something that was taking a bit more time. Whatever it is, when we are on the 8th of January, things go a bit faster for you. And definitely through the end of the month, because at the end of the month, then Mercury will conjunct Pluto. So the truth, you will know it at the very end of the month. So certainly when you are having exams, for instance, you know, you're going to see the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. And it's going to be something that you really are ready for, you know, the information that you're going to receive. Other than that, it could simply mean that you travel back towards another country, a faraway country, and it's quite transformative for you. It could also mean that you are writing something and you're redoing it, re-editing it. It could also, but for a lot of you, it will have to do with your opinions and how you communicate them towards others. And something has shifted. You are going to communicate in a different way. Especially after the end of this month, you will know why that is, and you will improve the way that you communicate to not only be a stronger communicator, but to be also someone who is open to receive truth, whether you like it or not. So and last but not least, there is a lot of activity in your 11th house, and this is good because it's Mars and Saturn, so it's the love planets are in your 11th house, but they are not conjuncting. So The conjunction of Mars and Venus, we will have to wait up until October. But anyway, it's January now. Would a Taurian would say that, Veerle, it's January. You know, one thing about Taurians is they get you back into reality, and that's good. So Mars and Venus in the 11th, what does it mean? So Mars is drive, it's the way you act, and Venus is not only love, it's also what you like to do and what you value. And when it's in the 11th house, it's about friends. And it's also not only about friends, it's also about associations, groups of people, but also, more importantly, your aspirations and there is and your wishes for the future. This is the most future orientated house, and there's going to be some work done here. At the first 2 days though of the month, I wouldn't be too serious about your aspirations, because the first 2 days Mars is together with Neptune, and whenever Mars is together with Neptune, at its best it's inspiration and it's compassion and all of that, but 80% of the cases this energy is felt in a more complex way, which is a bit misty, which is a bit, I promise a bit more than I can do. So, and for you, it's actually in a very innocent house. It could be simply that you were making your New Year's resolutions and they're absolutely too idealistic, for instance. So be aware of that. It's no big deal, the first 2 days. Or it could be a friend that makes a promise to you. You know, take it with a piece of salt, especially when it's the first 2 days of the month. Because Mars is together with Neptune, so it can be totally different afterwards. But at its best, Mars Neptune is about giving you the dream and the ideal. If you know that you are dreaming, I think you will be well. And then that Mars travels throughout your 11th house and bumps into Chiron, the wounded healer, and squares up to Saturn. And that Saturn for you is in the 8th house. Again, word of other people, money that you share with other people. So what does this mean actually? This means that because when it touches Saturn and Chiron, that will be around the 15th up until the 20th. These are just a couple of days, but very important days. What's best case scenario between those days is that you work very hard on your future. So then I would do my New Year's resolutions, and then I would plan, and I would, these kind of things, or trying to get into some sort of organization or organize yourself with other people. It's a good time to do so, but it's going to be very hard work, to say the least, because that Mars aspects Saturn, and Saturn is the one that slows things down, and that makes us a bit fearful as well. So if you're doing something between those days with a group of people, or with an organization or an aspiration that you're working on, be aware that it's not going to be that easy, but it's going to give you tremendous fruits afterwards. That's the positive side of Mars Saturn. So Mars Saturn, especially in a square, very hard, because it can make you a bit anxious, but to not go with that anxious feelings, the best thing for you to do is to prepare yourself. So prepare yourself very well, take little steps. If you want to accomplish a new aspiration, start with it already, and be very practical with it. And again, you could do that with shared values of someone else, whether it is financially or emotionally. So maybe there's going to be something that realizes after the 20th of the month that you didn't know that it was going to happen. So if you are fearful for something to do around that time, do it anyway. And it's not going to be that hard. It seems harder than it is, although it still is. But you Taurians, you can do it. I mean, you're a very perseverant kind of sign. Taurus in general again. So, and Venus is there as well. So, whatever it is that you're trying to accomplish, whether it is a dream, you want to do a new study or a new job or a new project, start with it already. That's a very important one. And then Venus is there as well in your 11th house. So, there's also something about your new aspirations or new friends that you like a lot about. And don't idealize them too much, especially on the 12th of the month, because then Venus is together with Neptune, which is enormously romantic. So if you're single, you could meet a friend that certainly becomes a bit more there. Whoever it is, again, be aware that you are idealizing and putting this person maybe on a pedestal, but don't worry, at the very end of the month this Venus squares up to Saturn, so you will see reality anyway. And sometimes that is good and sometimes that is a bit not so good. But you'll see. Sometimes with Neptune, it's not always that we idealize things for the good. Sometimes we also mislead ourselves in a negative way. So sometimes we think things are not going to be good and then ultimately they are better than we expected them to be. So it could be that for you as well. Having said that, I wish you a very, very good month, you dear Taurians. I think it's going to be a good month for you in general. And thank you so much for watching and see you next month. Bye-bye.